Hey everyone, Tony George, Monday Update, DocSports.com. We'll tell you what's going on at the website here in a minute. A little weekend recap at the end if you care to tune in. Y'all made some money. If you don't care to tune in, then don't. I don't care. But the bottom line is we're talking Big 12 basketball on a very dangerous card on a Monday. And bear in mind, these are free selections. So we're not unloading grandma's bonds. We're not selling the farm. We're not betting the kids' college fund on free plays. Now, we had a nice winner for you last night in the Nebraska game. Huskers just dominant at home. Dominant. They're just killers in Lincoln. I've never thought, honestly, being an alumni and living there 26 years and graduating college there and being a season ticket holder, football and basketball for dozens of years, I got news for you. I never thought I'd say that. Nebraska's dominant at home in college basketball. I never thought I'd say that. But nonetheless, let's go ahead. And by the way, that was Vernon Croy. I talked to Vernon last night in the middle of the game. He texted me, Vernon over at Docs. He said, by the way, I hope your Huskers continue this after halftime. He said, they're my 8-unit game of the year. So congrats to Vernon for the big win. But nonetheless, let's talk Big 12 basketball and let's talk Baylor and TCU. TCU at home. They've got a 105-102 win over Baylor. What was there? 50, almost 60 points scored in overtime in that game, so calm down on the score for the total. But they've got a win over Baylor already. And I was looking this up. Baylor, this is not the same version of Baylor that we've seen over the past 3 or 4 years. A superstar player, beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. The one thing that's consistent is they're very well coached. But this is not the same version of Baylor. They really don't have a overly superstar player. They're inexperienced, which is why they have a losing road record. Their only wins on the road have come against Oklahoma State, Central Florida, and let me think of the West Virginia. Oh, those are the bottom 3 teams in the Big 12. TCU is a top 4 team in the Big 12 with better numbers, especially offensively. Matter of fact, TCU is in the top 25 or 26 in the country in offensive efficiency, and Baylor in defensive efficiency is just inside the top 100, like 86th or something. I mean, that's a mismatch there, and I really think TCU's length, especially on the wings on perimeter defense, gives people a lot of problems, and they give Baylor a lot of problems the first go-around, although Baylor put up over 100 points, but it was a overtime game. That being said, all things considered, life on the road is just extremely difficult right now in Power 5 conference play. I mean, basically every conference. It's just difficult to lay points on. You laid points with Creighton yesterday? The other day? No. They're a better team than St. John's. They got smacked. It's just life on the road stuff. That's just an example. TCU money line minus 140. Take the 2.5 points out of it. Small position. Play the money line. Home court's worth a full 3 here. Saying it's a pick 'em ball game, basically. I'll take the home team against a team that's proven they can't be anybody good on the road. FYI. Even if they're in revenge mode. It would surprise me a little bit if Baylor won the game. It could easily be a 76-75 game, so why lay 2.5, get the win, and then lose your bet? Play the money line, minus 140. In college basketball, we went 5-0 over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday, nice winner for you with South Florida. Anybody paying attention to South Florida, the Bulls right now? That's 21-5 team. That coach that came over from Kennesaw State probably done maybe the best coaching job in college basketball this year. Yeah. No kidding. Pay attention. They beat FAU at home too. They were catching points yesterday and won by 11. odds makers just continue to disrespect South Florida. And if you're going to continue to disrespect South Florida, I'm going to continue to bet them. Should have had a stronger position than what we had, but, SMU's got some validity. But nonetheless, we were able to get the win for you there. 5-0, plus $1,800 to the good. We have one pick today, 4-unit best bet. I had it circled. My college basketball small conference guru, Tim, had it circled. We talked this morning. We both like the same pick. When we've done that and doubled up on it, when we've said, hey, what do you got? This is what I got. When it comes to, we're about 80%, in matching those. So it's good, solid 4-unit hidden gem small conference position. In the NBA, I want to thank everybody for coming on board yesterday. We had an easy winner with Oklahoma City, laying the 6.5 on the road at Houston for a 7-unit position. Still over 60% year-to-date in the NBA. We are 75% against the spread since the All-Star break. And here's another team, just like I mentioned, South Florida. You want to keep your eye on Oklahoma City in the NBA. It's a very dangerous. They've won every game since the All-Star break, and 2 before that, all by double digits. And the one thing about them, they're extremely well coached, which isn't mentioned very often. And I put a lot of emphasis on coaching in any sport. Even NASCAR, the race team itself. Just not the car and the driver, the race team. The crew chief, the pit crew. When you have a winning proposition as a sports entity in any sport, baseball, whatever, maybe an individual sport like golf, it's more on the golfer, but when you have a winning entity like that, it's always a team effort. And it's always, led by leadership. So, Oklahoma City's a team you better keep your eye on as well in the NBA. Because they don't take nights off. They just don't. They bring it. Look when they rest their players like Alexander or Dort or one of these guys that sit out for load management, which is still an issue this year in the NBA. But the lower volume approach that we've taken, surgically striking and only taking 3 or 4 picks a week, has paid dividends versus spreading around all over the place trying to find a winner last year and who's going to play. And so we take the guesswork out of it, So that being said, we'll be back tomorrow with NBA. Props are kicking ass and taking names. Had a rare loss yesterday, missed it by a couple. But we're still up over $4,000 on the year in the prop market. And NASCAR, what'd I tell you? You don't like NASCAR? You think it's a bunch of rednecks driving around and making left-hand turns going 180 miles an hour and no one gives a rat's ass? We're unbeaten in NASCAR this year. We swept Atlanta yesterday. Got lucky, but we swept it. Won Daytona. We got Vegas up to Vegas, the 1.5-mile oval out here. One of the best tracks to bet in NASCAR. Certain drivers do well on 1.5-mile ovals, and we know who they are, and we're going to match them up, and we're going to win some money this week. Get on board with NASCAR. Baseball around the corner. We'll give you a baseball update. We're taking a totally different approach, and we've basically took everybody that was helping me with baseball last 2 years out in the middle of the street and shot them. They're done. We got a new guy coming on board that has a proven track record that's going to be part of my Major League Baseball staff this year. We're excited about that. So we'll get that going for you here right around the corner as well. Have a great Monday.